What's going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, today we are at it again with episode 2 of Mining Roundtable. So let's go ahead and go around the table and catch up with our host. How's it going, Red Fox, and also ChumpChange?
Yo, what's up, dude? Doing good.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing great. So if you guys are checking out Mining Roundtable for the very first time on my channel, there's actually an episode 1 that is over on Red Fox Crypto's channel. So go ahead, check it out. There's a link down below. This is a possibly weekly show. We'll see. We'll see if we can keep it going, or every 2 weeks. We'll see what happens. But the show will rotate between the 3 of our channels. So if you enjoyed episode 1 and you're joining us for episode 2, welcome back. If you're checking episode 2 out for the very first time, if you enjoy it, go check out episode 1. We had some great topics, some good discussion there. So let's go ahead and start out with ChumpChange. What have you been up to since our last show? Any big content or things going on with you?
Too much going on, man. So as you can see, I got a bunch of GPUs laying here. I'm in the middle of moving everything from the crypto mining garage over here. I only have like 2 rigs left over there, but I have 2 rigs literally disassembled here because I don't know where to put them in my house. So that's a challenge in itself. What about you guys? What you guys been up to? Anything good?
I've been so lazy. It's bad.
Well, it's the holidays, man. I get it.
Yeah, the in real life job has been a little wild.
How dare real life job interfere with this?
Damn
I mean, I guess
you.
this is real life too, but yeah. But the good news is GPUs have still been coming in. I just got to figure out what to do with them. The 6600s have been stacking up. So and then, you know what the other problem is right now for me is I'm like at power capacity for the circuits I have ran. So it's time to run like another 30 amp. Then it's just like thinking through that. Where am I going to mount it? I have like I have a PDU, but it doesn't have the wiring coming out of it.
Okay.
From Mine Shop sent it over to me. So I have to buy like, you know, the right, I guess, I don't know what that is, 10.2, and then the right L6 plug for the end and figure out how all that works. So it's like, all right, to like build another rig, then I got to do this and then this and then this and then this. And I'm just like, I'm just going to do nothing. So
yeah, you can't just do the one. Oh, I know.
I'm in the same situation with mine because I'm like, literally, I got the Octominers in my laundry room. I got
I saw that
in my attic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got so many rigs downstairs, and I'm like, man, I don't even know where to go next. So I got some number 1 wire. It's like this gray service wire for 100 amps, and I ended up planning on doing like a sub panel with a couple basically the same setup as in my crypto mining garage, but in my basement.
Okay.
And I just don't want to go into the panel, man. I don't want to put a 100 amp breaker in it. I don't know why it terrifies me. I don't know why.
What size panel do you have right now in your house? Is it 200?
Yeah, I have 200 amps.
Yeah, same with me. Yep.
I did the 60 amp panel in my garage sub panel, and like even that, I was like, I could just, I guess, die doing this, but here we go.
Did you do that yourself? Because I saw that when I was out there. Okay.
Yeah,
wow,
I did that
good
all
for
myself.
you.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
But it's no joke doing a 100 amp sub panel. You could extra die doing that.
Yeah, extra die.
I put a two pole breaker in my 200 amp panel for the 30 amp PDU, but like for some reason, just pulling that wire.
Yeah.
I don't know. The bigger wire, it just terrifies me to like run it and actually land that in my panel. The 10.2 is fine. It was I don't know. It's just number 1. I'm just nervous about it.
I'm with you.
I won't terminate any of that. Like when I did my basement here, I had actually gotten quotes to do all the electrical. And at first I was going to do a sub panel down here, and then to save money, I looked at like just running everything back to my garage. Now my garage and my panel are literally on the opposite side of my house. So it's not even like close. And they wanted $4,200 to do that stuff. And I was like, I appreciate you, but not that much. So I went. I ran everything myself, and then I found a retired electrician, to come in and actually terminate at the panel, and also do the 30 amp 240 volt boxes with the AC monitor and all that types of stuff. So like he did it. It was really funny. We watched who was a Mad Electron's video, I think.
Yeah, I think everyone did.
Myself and the electrician literally sat here together, watched the video, and then we're like, all right, let's do it. And I was like, better him than me. But then like he actually taught me how to do Like I'd never done an outlet before. And so he taught me how to do an outlet, and I was like, great, I'll do the rest of my basement. And then I did all the light switches and stuff, and now I feel totally comfortable. Like I have to add another one here, no big deal, to the existing. But the panel, I'm like, nope, I won't even touch that. Sorry. That is not my forte.
Yeah, the panel's a different level. That's how I was too when I first started, and I like finally worked up the courage to put a 30 amp in. I'm like, all right, I can do this. But then I saw the 100 amp wire, and I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to do this. I don't know.
So you had mentioned about the 6600s, Red Fox.
Yeah.
Why do you guys think there's so many 6600s available? Like, I'm finding that as well. Like I just saw today, I just got we were just talking about it in the Discord. Like I just got an email from B&H. I'm on their site for their updates on their cards. And like, I'm seeing the 6600s constantly available now. Not every day. It's not like you can go find them, and not necessarily available because sometimes they're at like 650 or like, crazy pricing. But I've come across a pretty decent amount that are sub 500s. Why do you guys think that is? Why do you think it's so accessible?
I mean, that's still a ridiculous price too. God, $500. Because what is it? It's like a 1080p gaming card.
Yes,
I think. Right?
Yes,
so
correct.
Like, oh my gosh, dude, $500 for that is blows my mind. Isn't that what was a 1080 Ti? I think that was $500 brand new back.
I wouldn't buy a 6600 if I was a gamer. Like, unless I had a hard time getting my hands on other cards for gaming. But I feel like what would you have to be upgrading from, like, to get a 6600? Maybe that's why. Like, if you have a 580, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
How much? Like, you get 1080p with that, right? 580.
Yeah.
Still?
Oh yeah. 580. Yep. You'd still be able to get that, which is fine, I guess. I mean, maybe if you're building a new gaming rig, and you're like, hey, I can't afford the 3000 series. Like, I'm just gonna get an entry level to get me in the door, because most gamers aren't like, I'm gonna game in 2560 by 1440, and they're not going that extreme most of the time. I guess the 6600. What do you think, Chump Change? Why do you think they're just so available now?
It's a tough question. Honestly, I haven't really been paying attention to the actual market on those because I haven't been looking for them. But as far as them making those, I mean, I feel like it's just a cheap card for them to make, and that's what's available. Honestly, like that's what they have the most of, like the cheaper grade parts, and that's probably why they're trying to market or capitalize as much as they can right now on the whole. They know about ETH 2.0. Like, there's no joke about it. Like, everybody knows that mining is coming to an end with Ethereum. You know what I mean? So, they're not stupid. Let's put it that way. So, they're going to try to capitalize with everything they have laying around and maximize their profits before they are going to have a harder time, I would say, selling graphics cards. You know what I mean? That's just my take on it. But, it's just hearsay, just what I think. But
I'm almost surprised. I'm almost surprised we don't see kind of the same thing with, I guess, like the 3060s, But I guess maybe what are we going to see? There's a 2060 12 gigabyte coming. Maybe that'll be the thing that sits on shelves as much as the 6600 does. That really low end card. I don't know. It's really interesting. I also wonder, like, is this like a push because of holiday, and then it'll be a ghost town of inventory post holiday? I'm not sure.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, it could be. I mean, do you have a rig of the 6600s, or yours just the 6600 XTs, Mike?
The rig is the 6600 XTs, but I will shortly have a 6600 rig, because I think we talked about it last time. It's just like, I don't want to be in a position where I'm like, man, I wish I would have just bought those, because here we are 6 months later, and I've ROI'd them, and I just should have bought what was available instead of scoffing at it.
Second thoughts, like we all do about the 1660s.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Well, I think it's interesting because right now, with the 6600s coming out, they're right about 28, 29 max on your hash rate there. Yeah. I would imagine in due time, driver changes, updates, things like that, maybe possibly we are able to accomplish 30, on stable. I've seen some people that have gone crazy and can hit 30, but it's entirely not stable at all. So it'd be nice to have a card sub 500 that's hitting 30. That would be good. Outside of course, as you said, your 1660s. But Yeah, I was just curious on the 6600s. So as you were saying, Red Fox, just not a lot going on for you right now, just crazy busy with work. Any big plans coming up over the next week or two outside of the holiday from the content perspective?
Yeah, I think the next thing on my agenda, which I might have enough power for it, is I'm going to take so I know we have the Octominer cases, but I got another server case before that I got to pay some attention to. So I'm feeling like gonna have some server case videos coming up soon. But I'm gonna take my 3070 Ti's. I have 9 of them, but I'm gonna take 8 of them and move them in the server case and see what it does with like VRAM temperatures, and maybe I don't have to replace the thermal pads in all of them.
Okay.
Because they've been just mining Ergo on Nice Hash really power limited, like 45% power limit, just to keep them really cool. So I think I'm gonna throw those in the server case, do a build on that. I think I should have enough power for it. And the other thing I was thinking, and I don't think either of you have tried this yet, but so then I'll have 3 server cases when I'm done filling them up. I'm really curious at what that might do in a grow tent, and like how I could orient those to just like, when you think about the grow tents we have with the open air frames.
Yep.
Right, you're really relying on that exhaust to just pull the air off the cars, because the GPUs, and even if you're using like fans on the open air frames, they're not doing a lot of CFM. But like that server case can really just push air into one direction really fast. And I was like, man, what if I put multiple server cases in there, had them push that air really fast, encapsulate it, and they get sucked right out? I have no idea what would happen inside a grow tent, but that's one of the things I was thinking about. Compared to the open air frames I have in there. What do you guys think?
ChumpChange, what do you got? Then I'll give my opinion.
I think that's genius. Why not, man? Give it a shot.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool. I was thinking about putting my server case in the grow tent in the basement when I first got it, but then I found the home in the laundry room, so I'm happy with that. But you should totally try it, man.
For science.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm curious on it. So like the Octominer case is amazing, like without a doubt. Like the airflow, really, the cooling. I will say one thing, just props to them and just the hardware. I mean, I went from the H110 Pro to their motherboard setup, and my Ravencoin rigs are so much more stable. Like my 12 Ravencoin RX 470s are so much better in there. Now I don't know if that's because of cooling or if that's because
I think that has to do with the cooling. Yeah, because it's like. Those fans, 140 millimeter, man, they push some air.
Okay, so quick story on that. The other day I was reaching over it to try to do something behind it. So my stomach was against the intake fans. It sucked in my shirt, chopped up my shirt, and then there is the metal like mesh in front of it to protect the fans. Got pushed against the fan. Already broke 2 fins in the Octominer case. And those fans aren't cheap. I mean, they're 240 CFM each. They are heavy duty. So I was the first guy to reach out to them to be like, hey, can you guys send me another fan?
By the way, I stuck my finger in this and it broke.
Yeah.
That would have been a good YouTube short. I would have watched that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but yeah, the cases are really good. So back to your thoughts on the grow tent. My only thoughts there is like, so I almost wonder if you have to create inside your grow tent like a cold and hot lane.
Yeah.
So if you create a cold lane in the front where it's sucking everything in, almost to partition it off, and you do it at the very front of the case, and then the whole rest of the case is in your hot lane. And you know, a lot of the grow tents, the exhaust is towards the back of the top. So if you could build some type of like wall or something like that, something within there, I would be really interested to see, because then you really would, I mean, you essentially would be taking a full like mining farm and just downscaling it. Your cold aisle, hot aisle.
What do you think about this? Is this crazy? Because what if they were like not laying flat, but I tilted them so that the fan's pulling in air on the bottom and they're exhausting out the top? Like, and I put them on a rack or something so the airflow in the bottom, because all that cool air is coming right in the bottom of the grow tent, and then it would just suck it right up through the cards and then push right out
fans
through
down?
the exhaust.
Yeah,
fans down as intake,
Yeah.
And then just like boom, right through, right, and then it would just sit at the top of the tent and wait to get
you just
exhausted
cut a huge
out.
slit in your tent. Is that what you're?
Well, I have like they're just like, there's those flaps on the side, and then I have my intakes on the bottom, so it's so cool down there. And I'm sure you guys have noticed, just like your cards in the bottom of the tent stay so much colder because hot air rises. So like just taking into account that thought, and then like just turning, putting them on a rack so there's clearance on the bottom, and just turning those things to stand up essentially on their fans.
It almost reminds me of like, it almost reminds me of like a glorified like giant, not that you would use it, but like a shoe rack. Like a shoe rack is like angled downward. So if you actually angled them, not like straight vertical, but angled, your intake fans, I was actually chatting with Bitsby Trippin about this. And he was, where were we talking about this at? One of the farms that he was at, they were using the ASIC fans as their intake, kind of like what you're saying, to pull in the outside air. So there was no intake at all. So the ASIC fans were all straight up against the filters that were exterior filters. So it's kind of like your situation. You're using your fans for the server cases as your intake, and those are almost sucking in the passive air in the ambient air in your basement. It'd be interesting, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll let you try it first.
Yeah, don't worry.
Are you gonna cut, like, are you talking about if you would put it down on its face out the top, would you cut a slit on the top of your grow tent, like the size of the server case, and put that right through it? Or are you talking about just keeping it on the rack up to like the regular fan that's right above it?
Yeah, just keep it on like a rack, and then because they're so slim, so even in the grow tent I have, I could put probably all three of them like stacked up next to each other with the fans facing down.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing I'm thinking of is like the Octominer with the fans being so fast. I don't know if your exhausts could keep up with a couple server cases doing that. You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking, but then I was like, all right, well, hot air should just stay up there. It's not going to come back down. So,
but if it's moving so fast, it'll circulate.
Oh,
it's kind of like a furnace blowing in your house.
Yeah,
so
it would rotate.
It would still rotate because of the force. You know what I mean?
Somebody's listening to this right now going, God, it's such a bad idea. They're not thinking of this.
Yeah, I mean, if you cut a slit in the top of your grow tent, like, you know what I mean, the size of the Octominer, and slammed it up to the top, I mean, you could probably reach out to one of these companies and get a free one just to destroy. So I would. Why not?
These guys are a bunch of idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. I actually reached out to my my AC guy, who's really cool. Like, I went through a boatload of different AC guys this past summer because our AC unit is on its way out. Like, there's issues with it. It's I guess it's the core, they call it, actually has, like, there's some leaks in it, like, that it's leaking
coil,
freon. Yeah, you would know better than me. So I had like 3 different groups come out, and at the end of the day, it ended up being this guy, and he's like, listen, I can come out like once every 3 to 4 months and just give you more freon, and that'll get you by. And it's like $100. I'm like, perfect. Please keep doing that. I'm like, I'm trying to renovate my basement. I do not want to replace my whole unit. Anyways,
right.
He's been really into like the crypto mining stuff. You know, he was down here. We chatted about it. He's the same guy who wants to take my mining room and pipe it into my return ducts. He's like, let me do this for you. He's like, I want to do it.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. But I had actually reached out to him today because I said, hey, I was just curious. I'm like, when it becomes summertime and warmer, I'm going to be turning a lot of my inline fans around to be full exhaust. And I'm like, do I have anything to be worried about? Because I have natural gas. So I'm like, my furnace is down here, like, talking about like CO2 or like, there's a flame in there and stuff that's lit. I'm like, do I need to be worried about any of that with me having such negative pressure, in the wintertime and sucking that through my basement? So I'm waiting to hear back from him, unless either of you know anything about it.
That somebody brought that up in my comment section a long time ago.
Yeah, you can have issues.
But I know one of the things that I have all high efficiency stuff, so I don't think there's any like pilot lights. I have a tankless water heater.
Oh wow, you're way ahead of the game.
Furnace.
Yeah, you're electric ignition. Yep.
So I think I should be good.
The negative pressure, like, so older boilers, like, it's you need, what is it, 1,000 BTUs per square inch. That's how they calculate like the size room you need for whatever system you have. So like, an oil boiler, if it's 65,000 BTUs or whatever the case may be, you would just basically 1,000 per square inch of that number, whatever size the actual unit is, and then you can calculate how big the room needs to be.
Okay.
Length time width time height, and do the math. But yeah, it's so there is some, could be some issues, but it depends how old your stuff is. Like Mike said, if you have
mine's 12 years
electric
old.
ignition, then you're fine.
Yeah, so my house is 12 years old. It's the original unit that was put in the home when it was built. Like, we have found, unfortunately, we've only been here 2.5 years, but we have found that we have replaced a lot of the items. Like, it's kind of like that 12-year mark. So, like, our hot water heater went 2 months after we moved in, and we also had to replace what else was it? Our dishwasher and stuff like that. So, like, a lot of those original items that were built with the home, they never replaced, which makes sense, 12 years old or 10 years old then. So it was just something I was curious about as I'm getting into it more and more. Because I'm starting to think about summer. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. We're in winter, but I'm starting to think about summer. And I know like Red Fox, you have really scaled up since the summertime right now with the amount of cards. And I know when summer comes, it's going to be like dang it, this heat, like I
don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and so my situation is like I've actually I had 2 passive ducts that I ran in my mining room, and I actually have already replaced those with inline fans. I had extra inline fans, so I put those in, and AC Infinity sent me some 8-inch ones, so I'm actually putting them in overhead in place of my 6-inch and just using reducers on each side just to get by. 8-inch it won't give me a full 800 CFM with the reducers on, but down to 6-inch, but it'll still be better than 6-inch. So that's just my concern. I'm like, it's odd. I'm not even in the middle of winter yet, and I'm already thinking about summer and like, what can I do to prepare?
Can I ask you guys a 580 question that I'm running into?
Give it to me.
So, I have that 8 by RX 580 server case, and it's been great, and I just slid it over like 12 inches. And all of a sudden, then I'm getting GPU dead errors on one of the RX 580s. So they're in the server case. There's no risers, there's just XFX, one PCIe 8-pin going into it. And it was driving me nuts. I dialed back the overclock, still same thing. Identified what GPU it was, slotted it in that motherboard, rehooked up the PCIe, but like as soon as the miner starts in Hive, Team Red Miner, just boom, instant errors. I'm like, all I did was slide it over 12 inches. What could I have possibly done here? The only thing I haven't tried is trying that GPU in a different slot in that motherboard, but I also like AMD is just not my skill set, and those older cards, I have no idea what else I could do, but do you have any ideas?
ChumpChange, I'll let you go first.
So if I have issues sometimes with my cards, I'll pull them out and I'll actually rub my fingers across the fins like this, because the oils on your fingers may give it
tell me more,
a better connection. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I usually do, and then I'll reslot it. I get real close.
So this suddenly turned into an ASMR stream right here. Got it.
I know. We gotta start talking softly and stuff. So that's what I usually do. But Team Red Miner, I've noticed, has a lot of issues. My internet. Okay, last night I had a GrowTent video that I'm going to be dropping, probably not tomorrow, but the next day. But the internet it wasn't a good connection. Okay, the wireless connection, it wasn't like hardwired, and it just wouldn't mine. Like T-Rex Miner would start mining, but Team Red wouldn't. It just made no sense. It was so unstable. I had no idea what was going on. Ran an Ethernet cable, plugged it in. Even though that you have it hardwired in, make sure the connections on the Ethernet are fully pushed in, because that could also throw that algorithm off, and it might detect something as dead. That's what I noticed anyways with mine last night. So
since you did your build, I know like you and I talked a lot, Red Fox, when you were doing that build, and we talked about overclocks and everything like that. I had some instability issues on my 580 rig, so my guess is it's something to do with Team Red Miner, unfortunately. I really wish there were more alternatives that were as good as Team Red Miner out there. with AMD, because like right now, like you have AMD, you're like Team Red Miner, like it's no questions asked.
Right.
So what I've actually done is I've actually gone back in and I re-overclocked everything, and I'll have to send you what I'm using now, because it's a big difference between like Samsung, Elpadilla, Micron, and Hynix. My overclock settings are pretty different actually now, and I sacrificed a little bit of hash rate, but I'm just looking at it now, and most of mine are 31.5 and 32
Real quick on that,
and a half.
Hobbyist,
Yeah.
the Hynix and stuff,
Yep.
the refresh rate, I noticed actually, Red Fox, on the other day I was doing it, and one of my cards was like being weird, and I noticed the refresh rate was at 20 and not like 30. And it goes by the memory type. So check to make sure that didn't change on you, because one of mine changed randomly.
Yours are all Samsung, right?
Yeah, they're all Samsung. So
yeah,
I think it's 20.
20. That's 20. Yeah. Yeah. Micron and Hynix are 30. Everything else is 20. Yeah. So to give you an idea, right now, like my Samsungs, I found a really sweet spot. Now, granted, it's about 31.5 hash rate, but it's 1175 on the core, 850, and then 2075 actually. And I have found great stability. Like, I'm not getting invalid shares, and I have half of mine are Samsung, the other half are Micron and Hynix. So I'll just send you a screenshot of it just to try it out and see. But I think it's something with Team Red Miner over the last few updates that HIVEOS has used, because I've noticed it as well.
Speaking of Team Red Miner, just reminded me, I think I sent this to you guys a few days ago, but I bought that FPGA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Team Red Miner is the first to support, at least publicly, they have a public bitstream in their miner for this.
Someone didn't see Red Panda's video today.
Yeah, that's Xilinx Varium C1100.
Yeah, he did a video on Team Red Miner's latest release with his FPGA, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I immediately got a headache and shut it off.
What is he? He has the older one, right?
He does.
Squirrel something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember when he got that. So I'm interested. This is supposed to do like 75 mega hash at like 110 watts or something like that.
That's insane.
It's not my first time in the FPGA game. This will be my second time.
Bring it back.
First one worked out well, even though it just does nothing now because it's not profitable. But so for anybody listening, it was $1,300, and probably another 4 weeks I'll have it, and we'll see what happens. The problem is going to be with FPGAs is, so they like, there's I was reading the Team Red Miner Discord. They put so much work into developing this bitstream. Like, it seems like months and months and months of work to do this.
I wonder where the demand was for that. Like, why?
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, say they wanted, because then that's all it does right now is Ethereum.
Yep.
So Ethereum goes away, and then it's, do they have interest in doing Ravencoin? And then it's months and months and months and months of work to develop a public bitstream. Because there's private bitstreams out there. What happens is mining farms will buy these GPUs and have somebody that they hire privately to develop a bitstream that never gets released publicly. That's what happens in the FPGA game. And then you might have, like, who was it? There's different, like, Squirrel was one, and then there was a couple others that would kind of build a business around selling you their FPGA, and also, and then because they're selling you FPGA, you get the bit streams, and some of them you had to pay for the bit streams. Even so, some of them you got it for free if you bought the miner. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens, but I can't stay away. It's something new and fun. I can make a video out of it. So what the hell?
I don't know how you have brain capacity for it. Like, literally, I was watching Panda's video today, and I was like, I'm not watching this. I'm not watching this because I'm not getting into something else. I can't even get into like half the crap I already have. I'm like, no. I just stopped it.
I'm just a simple GPU miner.
Yeah, I left a comment, and he's like, did you understand LMAO? And I was like, no. I was like, immediately shut it off. Commented, Googled, got a headache. That was it. Like, I couldn't do it.
I found it really interesting. It is. It was really interesting.
I just can't focus on something else. I'll let you do it.
The other thing with this is you have to get a fan to cool this thing. So there's like I might actually have you maybe 3D print me something there, ChumpChange, once it's time. to get a fan
dude.
mounted in this thing because they're supposed to run in like servers, not like server cases, but like actual like rack mounted server.
Right. I saw the heatsink it had. It looked tiny too. It didn't even look like it was anything crazy. So you definitely need some sort of good fan.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
That's
Very cool.
Man. What'd you get lately, Mr. Hobbyist? Anything new for you?
Nothing.
I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you.
What are you talking about?
Come on. What were we talking this morning? Got your hands on something?
Oh, yeah. I got a.
You don't have to spill the beans. You don't want to.
No, it's fine. I got a mini Doge miner this morning. I picked one up. It was really interesting. I was talking with DJ Mines about it earlier because him and I have been chatting about drops and stuff with helium miners and all. And I was really surprised they shot out their marketing email of like, hey, here's our Christmas items from Gold Shell at 4:30 a.m. Eastern time.
So early.
And I was like, and I woke up at 7:30 and saw it, and I was like, wait, there's no way they're still available.
You and me, the same exact thing. I swear to God, I got the text or something from somebody at 7:30, and I was like, like jumped out of bed. I'm like getting dressed and running downstairs. I'm like,
oh yeah, I got
available.
downstairs and I hadn't bought from them before, so I went through the process. I'm like, all right, cool, I can get one. I was like, I don't need a power supply. I'll just hook it up to one of the server ones I got. And I got to the end, and I know you had told me previously that like you can use ETH, but I didn't really know how that was going to work out. And then it was like, oh, yeah, you pay it through Coinbase. And I was like, all right, fine. I'll transfer funds to Coinbase. Well, it took almost 45 minutes to get to Coinbase. Lo and behold, all these other people reported the same issue. Like I guess Coinbase was having some issues this morning or something. Because I saw it went through, but you don't actually have it available till you get like an email from Coinbase that says like your funds are now available. And the nice thing is on Gold Shell's site. So I've seen this twice now. Oh, it was on Coinbase's site and Gold Shell's site. They do a pretty intense CAPTCHA to avoid bots. Like it's pretty crazy. They both were running that today, and you had to literally get through it twice. So I was like, is this the world we're in now with bots where like you have to have these running? Long story short, it worked out. I bought one. And it's literally, don't ask me like, oh, what do you think you're going to make on it? It's literally just as a fun little side pet project of like, let's mine some Doge and a little bit of Litecoin and see what we get. Right. So what have you seen with profitability on those?
Honestly, I just kind of set it and forget it. I don't know. It takes a couple months to get a Litecoin. I know. I can't remember what I have actually. I'm not going to look right now, but I have, I think it was like, I don't know, probably 0.2 Litecoin or something, but I had like almost 400 Doge, I believe, when I looked this morning.
Okay.
So I was like, all right. I'm like, that's not bad because I'm just thinking like after ETH, where's all this crap going and what's going to pump? Because you know what? Like, I don't know. Elon Musk is not going to stop talking about Dogecoin, and I'm going to ride that pony until it fucking dies. You know what I mean? Excuse my language. But I was like, I cannot. Yeah, definitely beep that. Sorry.
I'm not beeping that. Screw that.
Why not? But I was like, why not? You know what? It's probably going to be worth it. And
sure.
I don't know. I want something else to be able to run for a bit. And I like the fact that it does both. Litecoin and Doge, you know what I mean? So
I did see.
Actually, why did you pay through Coinbase? I wanted to ask that before you jump too far.
What do you? That's the only option I saw when I got to the end, and it was how to pay was Coinbase. It was
so if you clicked on ETH, like the actual, not like I know it shows like everything you can pay with, and then it shows the Coinbase. If you clicked on the ETH, you could have just directly sent it from your wallet.
Oh, what the shit!
And it goes through like that. Like
it did not even. Yeah, it didn't come off like that. Like literally, the way I viewed it, it literally had one gold button and it said Coinbase, and I was like, okay, we're paying through Coinbase.
I just happened to click on it, and I I was like, ooh, that's cool. Okay, I'll just send it from my wallet.
Good for you.
It works super fast.
You're a smarter man than me.
How much is that thing?
$6.99. My fees were like $5.19, I think, to transfer from my wallet to Coinbase, and there's no tax on it, and it's free shipping.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So I was like, I mean, it's a fun little gamble, some concept behind it.
It might still be available, Mike. Actually, the 4-packs just sold out like 2 hours ago. The singles might still be available.
Buy me one for Christmas? Or
ChumpChange is buying me one. Yep.
I could. I bought 3 of them this morning, so I'm excited. And then immediately after I purchased those 3, I got a message saying the A2000s I ordered are coming in. So I had to drop like, what was it? I think I spent like $8,000 today or something. And I was like, I didn't expect to do that. But it was like, I mean, thankfully it's all ETH. So it just, you know what I mean? It was easier for me to spend the money because I'm like, okay, the ETH's there. I'm just going to use that. It saves me like USD transaction BS. So I'm like, I'll do that. That's fine.
Do you feel that your Doge, this is just up in the air, no wrong answer. Do you feel your Dogecoin mining is the closest thing for you to speculative mining? Or do you think Doge is more evolved, like it's kind of more mature?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely stupid, but it 100% is more it's less speculative in my opinion because there's so many people that know about it. Going to other coins like like HIVEcoin and stuff like that's speculating to me because it's not really anywhere and only like miners know about it. So I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know. What do you think, Mr. Red Fox?
I think we're not allowed to talk about avian, is what it's called now, right?
I didn't say that. That's why I didn't say it. Way to go.
Off the table just for the rules of our show.
Did you reach out to me a week or 2 ago or something and was like, how much are they paying you to do a video on this? Was that you?
Because I could not believe that you did a video on it after all
I had to because
they paid you? They paid you. How much avian did you get?
I got billions.
Oh my God.
With doing the video on Ravencoin Lite, and actually it was a pretty successful video at the time. It was. There was some hype around it. It only within the mining community then. But then to find out like months later, see it crashing and burning, I was like, okay. Because I have comments every once in a while. I was like, hey, what happened with Ravencoin Lite, or are you still mining it and stuff? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a video as kind of like here's kind of what's next type of deal. I will admit I did the video and then I took the cards right off of it and put it right on to and put them. Now I got some in my wallet, so we're good. I ran them for about a week and then I moved them back to Ethereum Classic. So yeah.
So how does it feel to sell your soul to the devil?
Oh no, I didn't get paid for it. If they paid me to do it, then I would say feels good. But they didn't pay me. I can admit.
That's so funny. That is so funny. You made my night.
Yeah, I do have to admit, I only have 2 R9 380s left. You guys give me hell all the time. I only have 2 of them left. I sold off 4 of them, each of them for $250.
Took you a while.
Damn. $250.
$250. Now, $250 on eBay. $250 on eBay, and which I don't think I'll sell on eBay again, only because of the fees are so high.
Yeah.
But lesson learned. But I'm gonna keep the 2 I have now, only to be available for fun speculative mining stuff. Like I enjoy doing some of that.
Yeah. Hold your door open.
Yeah. They'll hold your door open. No, that's the one. That's the one I got for that mystery box. That'll hold the door open. Doesn't even boot.
Oh my gosh, I forgot you did that.
Yeah, I still have that one. I'm holding on to that one. That one is a perfect one. Absolutely. Well, cool. So we have a little under 20 minutes left for today's show that we wanted to aim for. So I thought this was. I have one kind of heavy hitting question here, unless you guys have anything else that you wanted to bring up or chat about.
Let's do it.
Okay. So the question is for the group, the 3 of us, is what's our end game? So you stepped into mining. Now, Red Fox has been doing this longer than both of us have. But like, where does it end? Like, or where's, we all daydream. We all hope, we think about it. Where does it end? Because at this point, we're all young. We're all in our 30s. Where does crypto mining, what's our strategy? Like, what are we doing with this?
I'm pretty sure at least 4 times this month, I've said, this is it. This is it. This is it. You know what I mean? Like it's always ending and it just continues to start back up. It's like that old lawnmower you pull out and you give it one pull and it's back up. Yeah, it's oh man, I don't know. It's end game for me is honestly, I'm working like a dog to pay my house off. As soon as my house is paid off, I'm slowing down and I'm just gonna be comfortable riding the waves. You know what I mean? That's my end goal. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna sell out of everything, but when I get to that point where I can, obviously, that's it. That's my goal, and that's what I'm going to achieve.
So I have a question. I have a question about that for you, and it's more to open it up for the viewers. Why? And I kind of know the answer to it, but for the viewers, why focus on paying down your house so quickly? What value does that add for you? Now I know the answer to this, but I want to make sure our audience does. Why are you rushing to pay down your house? And are you using some of your mining profits to help with that?
As of right now, I'm not. I'm just holding it until that day comes.
Okay.
But the main reason I'm trying to do it is I want to leave my kids with something. Okay. I don't like if anything was to happen to me tomorrow, like I want them to be all set. So like that is my number one goal in life. If they're all set and I could, be gone and I wouldn't have to worry about it, then I'm happy. You know what I mean? That's my goal. I'm just trying to get them to that point if anything was to happen. I don't know why. I know it's morbid to think like that, but that's all right. The reality of today. You know what I mean? Like anything could happen, in these days. So, yeah, I don't know.
Red Fox, what about you? Kind of what's your end goal here, other than the crypto yacht?
I mean, that's huge. That's it. The yacht, man.
Yeah,
it's a yacht. I don't. It's tough. I was thinking about it. Probably like a month ago when Flux did its thing, when it went to like $2-3, and I was just like, okay, now I think I might be in like decision territory where for the first time and
that's not over, right? You realize with all the parallel assets getting paid out.
I know. I've been struggling to get my Zelcore. You guys like cursed me last week to sync. It's driving me nuts. I'm posting on their Discord. Nobody's helping me. I can't figure it out. So if anybody's listening to this,
do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?
Like I know my.
Help me.
Please, somebody help me get my Zelcore synced again so I can claim some of my parallel assets. But that was the first time that I was just like, what do I do here? Do I pay off my house? Do I pay off my car?
Because you have been mining Flux for a very long time, right?
You should have, man.
It's 1070 Ti, 1070 Ti's for 3 years put me in a position where I could pay off my house.
That's insane, and the difficulty was so low with Flux for that long.
Yeah.
Like,
and just like
good
that,
for you.
That concept is it's insane, and
blows your mind.
Like, to everybody listening to this right now, like that's a reality. Like that can just happen. And that's why I think, and even if you just mine Ethereum, and I didn't mine that, like still in a really good position over all these years.
Yeah.
Just time in the game. So, I like that was the first time I was like, I don't know what to do.
We should talk about that a little bit.
Like, I remember when I brought it up to you. I brought it up to you with Flux. I was like, yo, Flux, these parallel assets are going to be insane. And you're like, what do you mean? I got to figure out how to claim these. And then you come back to me, you're like, oh my God, this is nuts. I'm like, and there's more coming. There's more parallel assets coming. And it looks, with the snapshots, it looks crazy.
What are you going to say, Chump?
Yeah, it's I was going to say we should talk about that, like human nature, right? Greed is like the death of all of us, more or less. So when you see that kind of money, I guess until I'm in that position with like, enough to do what you have the chance to, or whatever the case may be, that decision is harder than like almost any decision you're going to make, because again, like I said, greed is literally your worst enemy, and it's going to get you. Like it's going to get you. There's no question or two ways about it.
Yeah.
But how did you deal with that, Red Fox? Like, what did you know what I mean? Like, you must have thought about it for a good couple days or so, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And like, I think it's all just continued learning. So I talk about this, you guys know, for like my Ethereum stuff and buying cards and all that. Like I've just settled on the fact that I'm going to sell half my Ethereum every week or every month or whatever it winds up being with payouts these days and pay off my rigs. Right? That's just the business mentality. It's all this thing. And then all of a sudden, I have an opportunity to impact my life beyond this business that I've kind of like separated from my life in my mind, I guess.
Right.
And that was like, okay, like, what do I do here? And I think that first of all, I did nothing, by the way. For anyone that's curious, I did nothing. I still have all that flux.
It's cut down then pretty significantly then since then.
That it's run like up. It's like $1.70, which is insane. And I got
still
more
good.
Parallel assets to claim, and they're on Binance, I think, now. So like, and I feel amazing about that project. Why I mined it for so long. So I'm feeling pretty good about its future, especially when Ethereum stops being mined. But then you start getting it. Then you get into like this, okay, how much do I like? I don't want to dump it all. I think I would feel pretty good selling what portion? Probably half.
Yep, I was gonna say.
Right, well, then I got to cover I got to cover the short, long-term capital gains on that. So let me sell some to figure that out.
Right.
And then you just start thinking about all that stuff, and it becomes a little overwhelming. And you're like, I'm just gonna do nothing. But so like that's like my first time going through that mentally, that thought process, and like it being a reality, and like what that might mean. And I think just going through that once, now I've settled with myself where if I'm in that position again, I'll feel really good to actually pull the trigger and sell like a portion. Like, okay, maybe I just pay half my house off or something and keep the rest in there for, if it goes up in the future. I think that's probably where I would land, just find some kind of middle ground. But now having like really been in that place, I've now been able to like really sit back and think about what I would do next time, and I feel pretty good about that strategy.
I have found, so my mentality with that, and I'm glad ChumpChange brought it up, was like whenever I come into a situation where extra cash is all of a sudden available through those avenues, like all of a sudden, hey, this got pumped and it's looking good, I've learned for myself, especially as ChumpChange says with like greed and temptation, is to do that first instinct. So like if I was in your shoes, not to say you did anything wrong, my situation would have been cash it out, pay off the house and car, and be done with it. Because later on I'd be like, yeah, I did that through this, and yeah, there's always that chance that like flux doubles or triples, and it's always going to be that like fish story that you had where like, oh, I could have, should have, but you kind of make your decisions in that moment based off of like where it is in that moment. And so that's always the really, really hard one. I always tell people, my cousin and I went in on Doge. This is before I was mining. Went in on Doge with $500 each, and we got it so before it was even mainstream. And I cashed mine out after I made a couple $100. I was like, cool, good. He held his. He was up to $240,000.
Holy hell.
And
good for him.
Yeah, because he ended up having 500. Then a week later, he put another 1,000 in, and then he put 5,000 in. So we had 5,000 total invested in Doge at fractions of a penny, and then it blew up. And he was like, oh my God, like there's a chance that like, this is life-changing money. It absolutely is. And he ended up cashing out at 60,000. So it dipped hard. And it was just one of the, and he reached out to me when he hit it good, like almost 250 grand. And I said, and what I told him then, and he always comes back to me, this is I should have. And I said, dude, take half of it out. And I said, take half of that half, put it in Bitcoin. Yep. The remaining half, cash out to cash and pay off some debt. Then you got 50% still in it. 50% of that 50, you're paying off debt, so he didn't end up doing it, but he ended up cashing out 60 and still took that, paid off his car, paid off some credit card debt he had, and it was still impactful. So that's always that whenever I get into those situations, it's just like, all right, I do it right away. So like, because if I don't,
you don't second guess it.
I don't second guess it, and I always find something else. You always find something else. Like, ooh, I get a few more graphics cards, or I could, So it's like, nope, it's gone. So like, I try to get rid of it same day.
I gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah, so I think for me I'm sorry, Mike, were you done on your kind of end goal thought pattern? I know we kind of went off on a tangent there.
Well, I think right aligned with Chump Change. I mean, the goal is Red Fox Jr. and Mrs. Red Fox have nothing to worry about should something happen to me. And like, thinking about him, if he winds up choosing the college life, I don't want him to pay for anything. Like,
Sure.
I want all that. And then for us as a family, like, house paid off, or the next house is our forever house, and that's where we land up. Like, I just think about settling a lot of that stuff in my 30s or early 40s would be
awesome,
would be really comforting, thinking about our future as a family. So like, that's as far as like end game, that would be it. Just having all of that weight lifted, knowing that all of these things are taken care of and in a really good place, and we can just enjoy life and enjoy each other. I don't know what else I could. I mean, the yacht would be great, but like, what else could I ask for besides that? And then the thing that I always talk about is, man, early retirement would be really killer. Like, if I could retire when I'm 50 or earlier, then I would be in. That's it. That's all I would want.
How cool would it be to be able to buy your next house in all cash? Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Think about it now. Like, you pay off your home, if that's with crypto or without, and then you go to buy your next house. You're like, all right, I got this Flux honeypot here. It's like, I'm gonna make
Flux.
Yeah, you guys take Flux. What I say and you cash that out, and you go buy your next home, and then you don't have a mortgage. You got nothing. I mean, that's huge. That's huge. I mean, I'm in the process. I just signed yesterday to refinance my home with some of these great rates, and next month I don't have a mortgage payment. because when that happens, they kind of like skip a month there, and I'm like,
that's why you were like, I'll buy more GPUs from you.
No.
Dogecoin, GPU.
Get out of here.
Red Foxes. Everything I
but,
do.
But you got, just thinking about that, not having a mortgage payment for a month, just for me, like 1 month is awesome. Can you imagine just not at all? Like, that is, yeah, definitely.
Oh, talking about payments, I just got my electric bill today.
Ooh.
Which has that Bitcoin ASIC running.
Oh.
And, woo, cool, $1,800 on that one.
Oh my
gosh!
And how many watts did it have on there? Like, how much did you use?
I have to look, but I know my whole house is like a pretty consistent 18,000, 19,000 watts. I'm pulling.
I know you got more cards and stuff than me, but that's insane. I'm at like 5,000. And now, granted, I got the crazy power, but like, I paid $280 last month.
Yeah. Here. Well, there we are.
Yeah, I talked to Chump Change. He's like, well, based off my 2 locations that I have mining,
yeah, my attic and my basement and my other location.
Oh my god! So I don't want to talk about it.
That's
your attic is nice. Your attic is nicer than my whole house, by the way.
Oh, I know. So I mean, seriously. Do your whole
rent? What's rent for the attic? Because I will pay that.
Oh my god, dude! So like I bought my first house at a really young age. I got a good deal on it, flipped it, sold it for a killing, and was able to flip it into this house. So this house, my 2 things I didn't have in my other house: attic or basement. I had a basement, but it was tiny, and I couldn't really do much in it.
Yeah.
So that was like the number one. I was like, I want an attic. I've always wanted an attic, and I've never had one in my entire life that I could stand up in.
Thing.
I don't know, dude, right? Like, that's
awesome.
Like, so when I was like a kid, I'd always go to my buddies' houses, right? And like, they were like, you hang out with like the rich kids or whatever, you didn't grow up like that. So these kids, like, you go in their house, they have like nice attics and like all, like, it's all decked out, like kids' playroom and stuff. And you're like,
I've seen people do that.
Yeah. So like my father's buddy set up this, like, his kids' like video game room up in the attic when we were kids. And I fell in love with it when I was a kid, and I was like, man, like, that'd be so cool to give that to my kids. You know what I mean? Like, I want an attic. Like, that's my thing. I want that. And man, putting all the stuff I'm putting up there now, like, kills me. I'm like, I totally don't want this to be a mining room. Oh, it's driving me nuts. But it's heating my house, so it's kind of like I don't know, toss up. But yeah,
that's
thank
smart.
you for saying it was nice. Appreciate it. But
how long ago did you move in? How long ago did you move into your current house?
So we lived in the crypto mining garage for like 2 months. Beginning of this year, it was like like February, the end of February, we moved in.
Wow.
I remember it must have been one of your videos when you were living there. You like, because all you saw was like, you saw like the rack for a while. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then you like turned the thing. I was like, oh, this is like where he lives right now.
That's crazy.
I got to build the house from the ground up, so it was pretty. It was nice being able to be a part of that, because doing the whole plumbing thing, I know contractors and stuff. So like, I did my own plumbing and helped with the heating and sprinklers and all fire suppression, whatever they call it. But yeah, just pretty much everything. It was just nice. Like, it was cool to do. So I recorded those couple videos.
Nice.
I don't know. I was excited about it. Walking around the house, showing everybody,
Hey, well, of course. But, why not? Yeah. Very cool.
I got one thing.
Sure.
I don't know how much time we got left, but thinking about when this video is going to post. This is probably the last one before the new year, I think.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. It'll post Monday. Any
New Year resolutions for mining, or anything you're thinking of in the mining space, thinking about next year? About you, Hobbyist, you got anything?
Ooh. Be done with this basement. No, that's coming. It's coming quick, which will be nice. But I think for next year, for me, it's going to be just finding some sustainability. Right now it's just kind of like, it'll be interesting to be a content creator and a miner without the expense of like any of the extra cash flow that myself and my wife has going into the basement, paying for like everything. It's like every day, every week we're buying something to do this project and stuff like that. So it'll be really interesting to see life outside of the renovations and such like that. So I think from a mining perspective, I don't know that I have any goals or anything like that for next year. I think for me, it's more on the content side, and I haven't nailed that down yet as to what that'll be next year. I'm not necessarily speaking to like views or subs or anything like that. Just where I want my content to be isn't there yet. So I'm still trying to nail that down before next year. So that doesn't necessarily answer your question, but yeah, gives you some insight. What about you, ChumpChange?
Oh, that's a tough question, man. So I guess my goal this year was to basically get this business off the ground, where as to next year, I won't have to buy as much stuff and I can actually reap the rewards, I guess. Because as you guys know, like running a business, right? Like I said, I run the plumbing business, so I understand how like it works. And there is a lot that goes into the first like 2 to 5 years of business. You're investing everything you have. And that's kind of why I've went all out buying everything I could, just putting all this money more or less back into it. I mean, besides my like long-term holdings, just to get me to a place where I can be like, okay, now I can actually like focus on projects. Now I can do some deep dive stuff that you guys do. And that's what I want to get into. But right now I'm like, I got to get this thing built to a point where I don't have to worry about building anymore. And then I can just basically, 2 cards, same cards like Panda does, like this coin, like solo versus pool mining, like things like that. I just don't have time for it right now because I'm focusing so hard to build it. What about you, Red Fox? You got any New Year's things?
I think one thing I definitely need to do is essentially sit at a computer for like a week and like really get a grasp on GPUs, money spent, where I'm at, break even wise, like just get all of that data like together. And I usually wind up doing it like I keep up with it, but it just gets behind. So I got to like really zoom in and see like where I'm at with anything, and that'll obviously help me for preparing for tax time too. But one of the things that I enjoyed before this last bull run happened was like I had everything so stable, all my rigs, and they were just doing their thing, and I wasn't really building rigs. I wasn't tinkering with them. They were just making money. They were just making crypto. And it gave me a lot of space to explore other things. That's when I first started exploring like DeFi stuff and all that. So like I got a little bit of a taste of that once I finished the 6600 XT rig, and then I went up buying more cards. But I think like that felt really good just to have everything settled, and then be able to your point, ChumpChange, start putting my like brain power into something else. So I really like that idea. Just get everything settled and then say, okay, now what are some other goals that I want to achieve? And I've talked about this before. Like, all right, maybe I want to achieve a Firo master node, which I'm still working on. So let me just focus on that and what it takes to do that and learn how to do that. Or
Right.
you know, whatever else it might be, but just having those be just going all the time. You know, all the pads replaced, no VRAM overheating, like fans are working on everything. Just get to that as much as possible, to that place where I feel like everything's really sustainable for a while, and I can then pivot my energy into something else, still involved in mining, but not necessarily always like in a GPU all the time. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, well, it takes a lot of brain power, especially like doing the videos and stuff too. It's the videos can only be so good because like people don't realize how tired we are. Like, man, I am like going to bed at 2 a.m., waking up at 6.
I don't know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
dude, you guys do the same thing, man. Like it is a constant grind, and it's like all the people that are like get a real job. It's like, man, you don't understand how many hours I'm working. Like it's literally nonstop, and you can only make it so good of a video when you're that tired. You know what I'm saying? So it would be nice to be able to focus on doing videos, like good videos that, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that nothing's good, but you know what I mean? Just the quality upgrade would be nice.
I remember when Red Fox was pushing the like daily video stuff, and it'd be like midnight, and I'd see that little green next to his name, and I'd message him and be like, I see you up burning the midnight oil.
Just oh man. I can just imagine how mad you were the entire time. You're like, this is awful.
Oh, dude, never again. I mean, I've scaled back the last couple of weeks, and it's interesting. I watched Seb scale up. You know, I'm sure you guys seen that too.
Yeah, I was chatting with him because it's he's got crazy snow over there right now, and traditionally he's built, because I don't know if you guys, so he's building his own house. So he's building his house during the day, and then he does the crypto mining stuff. Well, he can't do anything right now because it's like crazy winter over there where he's located. So that's why he's pivoted to, okay, I'm gonna do so many videos. I mean, he's blown up like crazy. I mean, it's insane. He'll be at 100K before year end for his 1 year. I mean, without a doubt, which is crazy.
He's doing good, man.
Absolutely. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up there. We're over an hour at this point. So if you guys did enjoy the video, or you have any comments or questions for us, post them down below. We're always looking for more content for a future video, future episode. So feel free, let us know down below. It'd be awesome. I'll have links down below to all of these guys' channels. Next week's video will be on ChumpChange's channel. So if you're looking for episode 3, go over there and check it out. Other than that, guys, from myself, Red Fox Crypto, and ChumpChange, thank you guys very much for joining us today. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.